Well, hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's discussion where we're going to be talking about the exciting first full-length trailer for that was released today for Inside Out. So pretty exciting, definitely a great trailer, lots of great information. We, of course, as usual, are joined by guests in tonight's broadcast, and obviously in addition to myself, TJ, and
Julie.
Julie, we are joined by Lauren Cacciatore, who is a Pixar Post fan as well as super fan of Pixar. So, Lauren, go ahead and say hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello. So, and we are also joined by none other than this day in Pixar's own Mr. Jeff Kays. So, say hello, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Good and excellent. So, yes. Just as far as so we can kind of level set, where is everybody again? Because I know, Jeff, you're in Minnesota. Lauren, where are you from?
Ohio.
Ohio, and we're in Michigan, so we're just below you, that's right. And Jeff had mentioned...
We're above her.
That's
You're
Yeah.
Maybe I meant as far as below in a tier of, like, fandom of Pixar. I don't know.
No, Michigan is below for Ohio State, so since we beat you guys.
Oh.
All right, well, moving right along.
Wow.
I mean, we're just...
One of those nights.
I know, we're just getting started here. So, and Jeff, you had mentioned just a little bit of a note to some of our friends in California, hearing some news about the weather.
Oh man, it sounds like it's been really nasty out there. I think I heard earlier this week, like from Sunday to Wednesday, they had received more rain than they had all of last year. So it just sounds pretty bad. And they're getting more tomorrow. Schools are closed tomorrow, and so
Wow.
hope everyone's doing okay out there.
Yeah, so everybody in California that may be watching along and floating in the rain, hopefully all is well, and well wishes, and hopefully that this starts to ease up a little bit for everybody coming up soon here. So, okay, so obviously, like I said, the big news, let's get down to it, we're going to talk about our thoughts in regards to the Inside Out trailer, which was released today, a little over 2 minutes. I think it was like 2 minutes and 15 seconds, something along those lines. We're going to talk about some of the individual moments from it. We're going to talk about Pete Docter also did a Q&A session on Twitter using the hashtag
Ask Inside Out.
AskInsideOut, and
It was really exciting. It's always exciting when, the director or an animator or anyone, from a company or someone that you admire, takes time out of their day and answers fans' questions, or at least you get the chance to have him answer your questions. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're obviously going to be talking about that session. Was about 45 minutes, the Q&A session that he had done. So we're going to kind of wrap up and kind of talk about what some of our favorite moments were from that. We're going to talk about the kind of the fun and chaotic nature that you had to do today with that.
Oh, yes.
And, of course, we'll field any questions that people that are watching along right now may have. So let's go ahead and address how you can do that. If you happen to be watching us on Google Plus right now, you can always ask a question directly in the Google Plus window. It'll come up on our sidebar, and we will go ahead and answer any questions. Or if you have comments, you can go ahead and add those there as well. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, you can leave a comment below. Julie will be monitoring those, and she will go ahead and read those off as they come in. And then in addition to that, if you're on Twitter, or if you're just watching in one of those other ways and you want to ask a question via Twitter, you can also use the tag InsideOutPP for Pixar Posts. So hashtag InsideOutPP, and we'll answer any questions and or your comments that come in from there as well. So first off, let's get an idea as far as impressions of the trailer. So I know, Jeff, you were particularly interested in this, and we're pretty excited about it once you saw it. And I saw some of your tweets saying, oh, God, I can't wait for this. So give us your first impression of the trailer when you saw it.
If I had to pick one word, it would be emotion and emotional. I mean, it's just, I had goosebumps watching it. I was so excited. And I just loved the look of the trailer, the lighting and the scenes and everything. I love that we got to see into mom and dad's minds also and how different they are. And it's just going to be, I really think this is going to be a very emotional film. So.
Oh, I know, it's going to be ridiculous, and I love My favorite thing is exactly what one of yours was, where as the banter is going back and forth, I absolutely obsessed about the fact that it would cut inside the mom's mind, inside the dad's mind. It would cut where it would be almost even behind the emotions inside the mom's mind. So now you're behind the emotions, you see the emotions, you see out of the mom's eyes and to the dad.
Yep.
Or there are times where you just see directly out of the front of her eyes as if it was just the emotions views out, and then it just cutting back and forth. I mean, this is going to be so awesome with all the cuts back and forth and back and forth. This is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
So I absolutely can't wait for it. I do agree that that was one of my favorite moments as well. But Lauren, what were your first initial reactions and thoughts when you saw the trailer?
I loved it. I think it was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. I had to watch it a few times to actually get the details of it. But overall, I thought it was funny, especially with the little jokes, because we all could relate to them.
Okay, and we'll dig into some of those little jokes along the way. But give us an example of one of those little jokes.
I would have to say that is the toilet seat up, because I live with two brothers, and I always yell at them about that. That was my biggest one.
I did like that because, yeah, you got, what was it, Anger that was saying, the dad's version of Anger saying, what, did we leave the toilet seat up? Say something, woman.
In fact, we actually someone just wrote down or messaged us their favorite line, and their favorite line was the "Sir, reporting high levels of sass."
Oh,
That too.
Also genius. Yes, was that Ultimate iPad Expert?
Yep.
Absolutely. I knew he was going to be watching along, so hello and welcome to the Hangout. I believe we also have Jonathan Pauly that might be watching as well via YouTube, because I think he said hi out there, and for anybody that knows that name off the top of their head, that's the team, one of the team that recreated the entire Toy Story movie with the physical characters. So that's pretty cool. So hello, Jonathan. So Julie, what were your thoughts when you saw the trailer for the first time?
Okay, I adored it. Now, first off, I watched it on the Disney UK Facebook page first, so I actually saw. It's a little different than the US version, and I noticed it right away, and I was so geeked about it. I was like freaking out. But we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But my favorite part of the trailer was it was so unexpected that we got to see the emotions in Mom and Dad, and that they both kind of resembled Mom and Dad inside the head. But not only did I like that part, I loved the settings that were inside the head. The headquarters in the mom looked kind of like a book club, kind of like a living room that you're not supposed to go walk in. We had like curtains. It was just kind of warm tone. But then the dad headquarters looked like ESPN Zone. It was
this real retro, like 70s, right, with the computer tape machines in the back and.
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah.
I thought that was genius. It was so unexpected. I just really adored it. And I don't know if anyone else caught this, but when I saw what the dad looked like, when he was like talking and stuff, I could only visualize Pixarian Kelsey Mann.
Really?
He looks just like him.
I guess he does have a little bit of that.
If you Google Kelsey Mann, for some reason I just kept seeing that because.
Huh.
Lately, or not lately, but when last time for Monsters University had that scruff and like a mustache was a little darker. For some reason, I only could, when he was talking, I could only see him, and I just thought it was kind of funny.
Well, okay, Kelsey Mann, you're Riley's father. So I would say that when I watched it, it was. I guess whenever something like this comes out, it's like a little bit of that Christmassy like excitement that you get. You can be older, you can be younger, it doesn't matter. I still get that like, oh, it's here, it's really here. And so that part was certainly great. Obviously, we've alluded to some of the different things that we've seen out there. And Julie and Jeff, you guys had kind of even already talked about some of the theming in the background for the emotions. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about right off the bat was I thought it was interesting, and I don't know if, I rewatched it several times. I thought it was interesting that in Riley's mind, she has a mix of female and male emotions, yet in the mom and dad's, they were all female in the moms and all male in the dads. So did anybody else notice that too?
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that because in the dad's, Joy had a mustache, and I cracked up. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. So Jeff, did you spot that right off the bat too?
Oh, right away. Noticed that, and just I agree. It was funny. I thought it was quite hilarious. How
So any thoughts as to why that would be? I was expecting that they would all kind of be mixed among everybody.
that and
For kind of
also-
comic relief.
Yeah, that could be. I was also I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Well, who's kind of in charge, or like it seemed like in the mom's mind, wasn't it kind of sadness, and in dad's mind it seemed like anger. So are those going to be their overdriving or overarching emotions?
Right. Whereas Riley's is joy.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting thought too. That it's like the essentially it's more dominant that way because they're like more in charge. I'm really interested to see. I mean, obviously that just kind of caught me by surprise because I wasn't expecting it. The other thing that I thought that was interesting was I wouldn't have thought, because I knew we were going to obviously be going into her mom and her dad's head as well. I didn't expect that anger would look close to the same among everybody. I thought that was kind of neat because in my mind I just figured they'd be drastically like, fear would look different, or maybe it would be a different makeup of emotions. Maybe it wouldn't be those same 5.
Go ahead.
I said I've never thought of that. That's all.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I noticed. Oh, sorry. I noticed that the anger in the mom was shaped differently. Like it was more rounded than squared. But maybe that's because of her hair too.
You're right. She was a little more rounded for sure. But yeah, I guess I was just like, when it went in there, I was like, hey, wait a minute. They all kind of look like they mirror each other. And it makes sense that fear would kind of look like fear everywhere. But it just caught me by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have something that just popped in. So we'll see if Julie sees something there.
So what
yes.
do you think about about joy and sadness being gone? I mean, that's kind of a big part of the story, if I remember right.
Right, you're saying so like the portion of it where joy and sadness get lost within Riley's mind, and that changes kind of the course of the story a little bit because she's obviously only left with fear, disgust, and anger. Is that
right?
You're right.
Which are the 3 characters we saw in the trailer. For
Right.
Riley.
Right, and it's interesting because in Pete Docter's Q&A session, he talks about the fact that Joy is still the main character. So obviously she's either not gone too long or they do a lot of flashbacks or viewings to where she may be. Any thoughts to that at all? Like if she's going to stay the main character, how are they going to keep her?
I think they'll be going back and forth a lot. So, and I think they'll probably focus more on joy and sadness. So this might have been just these scenes without joy and sadness will be smaller scenes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything that came in there, was that one? Still checking. Nope, yeah. No problem. So as far as the trailer as well, one thing I thought was interesting is, and we had a reader that watched our last hangout that we did together for the Inside Out one, and we had that kind of round robin debate as far as with that picture of the family, the mom, the dad, and Riley sitting at the kitchen table. Was that the new home that they moved into, or was that their old home that they were moving out of? And now we obviously know that it's confirmed that it's the new one that they moved into. So I think we pretty much all were on board with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think, Lauren, you cited very specifically that you had a card table, and it was a very similar setup when you guys had moved.
Yeah, we had the cardboard table in the middle of the room because that's the only place we could put it because all of our furniture was being put together and stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely. So your predictions were correct, and we were kind of all on board there with that one. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, and then obviously it kicks into where the mom says, hey, we need some support here, because after she asked Riley how school was, she was kind of like, meh. So.
And we actually have a couple of readers and viewers that are actually saying they mimic Riley's emotions on their bad days. So when Riley's kind of like, shut up,
Oh.
they're like that on their bad days. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, fun that they have that, kind of like mirroring. I guess it just means Pixar is really nailing it with how they're laying this out. So the mom says, "I need support." So that's the first time you flash and you get to see her emotions in action there with all of their red rim glasses. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Here we go. It's not a hangout without Monster being present. Hello, Monster. Oh, what would Pixar post be without our mascot? So we see that. She says, "Let's signal the dad." So she gives the and then, of course, we flash into the dad's head. And in the U.S. version, and this is where Julie was going to go to, what is he watching and all of his emotions watching at that time in his head?
Yeah, the UK version, he's watching a soccer match. And in the United States version, he's watching a hockey game.
Right. And I have to say that I was guilty. I cannot believe that I was guilty. I watched the UK version first. I saw him watching a soccer game. / football.
Yeah, football.
And I happened to, just kind of like brush right past it. I don't know if it was because I was just caught up in the moment of everything, but I knew it was supposed to be hockey because this trailer that was released was the animatic, which is the strung together drawings, like the rough storyboard drawings that they put together, that was shown at the 2013 D23 Expo. So I knew it was supposed to be hockey. I know that because we talked about it during the last one where we saw the hockey sticks and like the trophy in the background too. So for somehow or another, it passed me by, and then you told me.
Yeah, I noticed it right away when I watched I watched the UK version first, and then when I watched the United States version, as soon as I got to the dad's headquarters, the sound is different. The sound is echoey, like you're in an arena rather than like an open field. So I noticed it right away, and that's what made me notice it, that it wasn't green, it was now white, because it was ice.
Right.
And I was like,
So I happened to be talking to Dan, the Pixar fan, who is a usual guest on these, and we were talking back and forth, and he said, "Hey, did you see that?" That was when I first noticed it. I immediately talked to Julie about it, and she's like, "I'm already working on it." So she was already updating the post and already doing that. But did either of you guys get tricked by that? Did you happen to watch either of the different versions and see both of those?
Honestly, I just got done with finals, so I only watched the UK version. So I did not know that.
All right, so you've seen the soccer version then.
Yes.
And did it stand out at all that it was soccer, or did it even ring a bell that it should have been, at least from what we had heard, hockey?
Honestly, it didn't ring a bell. I just thought they were going to watch a regular game,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah, Jeff, how about from you?
Well, I saw the U.S. version, so I saw the hockey, and I didn't know. I've been trying to not watch too much or read too much into the movie, so I didn't know this whole thing about that it was, the animatics that you were talking about. So it looked normal to me, and it kind of made sense to me. Hockey, I mean, Pete's from Minnesota, and so we're all from the Midwest and know how popular hockey is around here. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you certainly wouldn't have thought anything about it being up there with all that cold and ice. Yeah, it happens. So yeah, I don't know why it just totally just slipped my mind. But I want to know, anybody that's watching right now, whether YouTube, Google Plus, or on Twitter, send us a message and let us know if you happen to spot that right off the bat. Or if which version did you see first, too? Be interested just to hear that and kind of get a quick survey of what people may have saw or watched out there.
And kind of back to the emotion parts,
yeah.
Our viewer and reader Pixar Kid actually is saying that he really likes, all the emotions inside Riley's head, and he is so curious about the possibilities of the adventures that are going to go on within the headquarters of these emotions. Like, what's it going to be? Is it going to be Riley's emotions from school? Emotions from the move, that sort of thing.
Oh, so like in those memory balls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think we're going to see quite the broad range. I think we're going to see everything from very small youth up until, where she is in that present day, from school, from home, fights that she's been in with her parents. I think it's going to, and I think this is kind of where Jeff was kind of going, that he's going to get emotional with this movie, is the breadth and options that you have to go into from an emotion standpoint, I think are just endless, and I think it's really going to tap into those real and true emotions and feelings that we all know and experience from either having kids, being a teenager at some point, or whatever. And I know, Jeff, you're obviously close enough to this as well, having kids of your own that have been kind of through these ages. But what is that kind of what it was that caught you, that it's going to be emotional, or what was it?
Yeah, I think so. And you hit it. I had written down some words before we started, and you hit it right on the head, which is truth. There's just felt like so much truth in the scene that they showed. And I know with my own kids and how things can sort of escalate out of control, or, you know, I'm going to put my foot down here, and I just, it just rings of so much truth that, yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine as as a dad going through that, because obviously we only have a 9-month-old. But I can still obviously vividly remember back to those teenage days, and I can remember it, like almost having an internal monologue when I would talk to my parents and some of those things. And I so wish that I could then zoom over to my dad's head and kind of hear what he was thinking as well, because I'm sure that, like you said, it's like, don't make me put the foot down. And I'm sure like it's all that the level of escalation. We're going to go to DEFCON 2. And Julie, you said you loved about the keys.
The keys that they had to like turn. The fail-safe keys. I was like, oh my goodness, I love that it's just that's so awesome. Like, that's so detailed. I really enjoyed that part.
Well, then dad, just the dad saying, "Go to your room," and then you see anger sitting back. Well, we sure took care of that. I'm glad that could have been a disaster. And then you go to mom, and she's like, well, that was a disaster.
I know, it's so good. I mean, the humor hits so right. And obviously, I mean, like I said, we kind of knew a little bit about this from that 2013 D23 Expo, but we never saw even the animatic footage. We only heard about people that had seen it. So it's great that we were finally able to see this as well. Just a quick note, Jonathan, who I thought was watching along, is actually watching on Google+, and he said that, because I asked people what version they saw, and he said he only saw the UK version. It was the one that came up on YouTube right away, so I guess that makes sense. You see the UK, you see it pop up, that's the one you watch. But
and actually, I have 6 people that just watched the UK version first and then realized that the difference was from the UK version from our post that we did right away.
Oh, interesting.
So thank you, everyone who just informed us of that.
So that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, since it premiered on iTunes and they made such a big deal that it was going to premiere on iTunes, I'm surprised so many people saw it on UK's YouTube page.
It was about a 5-minute delay. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes. I saw it. That's how I saw it first.
Man, people are on top of this stuff.
Well, see, like I told you earlier today, I am a Samsung person, so we don't use iTunes. So the only way I could see it was from YouTube.
Well, technically, you could go. Technically, as an Android or any other user, you could go to apple.com/trailers.
Yeah, see, I don't pay attention to that, so I didn't know. So, like, first thing I saw was YouTube. I'm like, oh, I'll just click that,
Well, now every other Samsung or Android user or Google user out there knows that they can go to apple.com/trailers. So.
And we did have another question where someone is asking, do you think that the emotions are going to be the only like metaphysical characters within the film, or do you think we're going to have more? Now, during the Q&A with Pete Docter that we'll get to, he did allude that there are quite a few people that we have not met yet.
Exactly, and I know before...
I don't think they're going to be too much emotion-based, but I think they'll be maybe like a frazzled or stressed rather than like the main 5.
Right. I do think that there will be additional ones, not only based on his conversation, but even just some of the other information that we had known, not us exclusively, but like what has been out there in the arenas from the expo and different interviews and such. So I think there certainly will be. And we're going to jump ahead just a little bit then, because now I want to chat about that. What were the ones that Pete mentioned specifically. Do you recall that offhand, Julie? I'm going to look it up myself as well.
Well, my favorite one was, if everyone remembers, the Cranium Command attraction that was at Walt Disney World. It, closed, not recently, but it's closed now, and everyone was like, did Pete Docter, get influenced by this attraction? And the answer was no, because it only... Inside Out only involves with the mind and the headquarters. But what was interesting, a fun fact, was that Pete Docter did animation on Cranium Command. The head part, the head animation, he said, is his head.
Yeah, pretty cool that his head was in there, and that some of his work was in Cranium Command, which obviously a lot of people have made connections to. But yeah, it's more the total body and fighting a virus and all those kind of things.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of fun because everyone was like, oh my gosh, he has to have a tie to it, and he does have a tie to it, but it doesn't have anything to do with Inside Out. But I just thought that was really kind of fun.
Right. Yeah, and then the other question about kind of the metaphysical thing, one of the questions that he had asked is, what's your favorite character design in Inside Out? There are some awesome characters in subconscious and dream production you haven't seen yet. Just wait. So I think that's pretty much giving us that there will be other characters that are kind of this metaphysical, made of particulate matter, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really cool. I keep hearing a lot of beeps here. We got anything else that's popping in?
I'll let you know.
Okay, I apologize. I just didn't want to keep going forward here in case there was something else.
Yeah, I got really excited when I heard about the other characters and those other areas of the mind. I just think, what a great concept. I'm just still in awe of the whole story. It's going to be just really excited about it.
I know. I think that there's something about it, and I think. Well, I guess it goes back to the word that we already said and that you reiterated too, which is the truth of it. We all can relate to it. It's like the best comedy sketches in the world. We relate to them in some way. It's about growing up. It's about the differences between men and women. It's something that you can relate to at some level, and this is something that everybody can relate to because you either were there or you were there and now are there again with kids. So, I mean, it's so real and so true. So we have one comment that's coming in. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
But from Animation Nation, he said, I think that Riley's parents might divorce because you can see a conflict between her parents' mind. Also, you can see that they're eating Chinese food right out of the box, which means no one took the time to cook. Okay, so I actually don't know that I agree with that. And I'll say from the divorce standpoint, yes, the conflict is there. And certainly from the majority of Disney and Pixar movies' history, one parent usually has to go.
But normally they're gone before the film starts.
Yeah.
Or right at the beginning. There.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think, and where I was going to go with this before you started reading that, which is good you read it beforehand, is if anyone noticed that the lighting is very drab, the whole area kind of looks kind of dingy and just fog, not foggy, but just dingy and kind of
you
dark.
Look at the backgrounds, right? And you can see the scrapes and stuff in the stairs and the walls and everything.
Yeah, for me, I felt stress. Like in that situation, I felt stress, and I feel like as the movie progresses, the lighting will change, like it does in Pixar films. And it'll change the mood as everything starts to get better and better. But if anyone's moved, we've moved, and it is stressful.
I was going to say, I want to go back to when we first moved. We're sitting at that cardboard table. The mom is trying to, get everything organized, trying to see how everything's going. But the dad, my dad, because when I showed him, he's thinking about the complete opposite. He's thinking about what he has to do with the house, what he has to paint, what do we have to move. So he's not focused on that stuff. He's focused on the house and what he's got to do for work. So I can relate to it. So I totally understand what's going on. And you're not going to have plates out the first day you move.
Yeah, so it was the first day of school, and I don't know if that implies that literally they moved right before that. I assumed it did too.
Still, the first week, I mean, I didn't want to unpack the kitchen. That's the worst thing to unpack.
It was so many plates and all the forks and knives and finding the right layout for it.
So I enjoyed that that lighting sequence, and I'm interested to see the different lighting as it goes on.
Right.
In the physical world, not the headquarter world.
Right. So Animation Nation, I like the thought, but I'm just going to throw my thought out there. I don't think there's a divorce scenario, and as far as the eating, I think it's probably just because of the move thing. But I like the thought, though. It's an interesting one. I think there's just too much dynamic to split up the mom and dad too, because it's gonna wedge Riley right in the middle, and it's gonna be coming from both sides. You're gonna have more of the caring and trying to understand, and you're gonna have more of the get to the point, quick answer kind of thing from the dad. I mean, that's just so perfect to sandwich her right in between there. But
I think there'll be enough stress just from the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then to actually put in a divorce also, I think would probably be too much.
Right. Plus, I have to say, and I don't know how I consider myself to be like the lighting and background fan, but Julie has been absolutely just going bonkers, knocking it out of the park with this stuff recently.
Oh yeah, I am working on an incredible, amazing post from Toy Story that time forgot, because the lighting seriously blew my mind.
Yeah.
But we won't talk about that.
And I didn't even notice it, and it's like I'm starting to really feel like not good about my observation skills anymore. Like, you took them all from me. So I love it. But yeah, so anyways, look forward to that in the next day. I would say probably tomorrow, right?
Probably.
Yeah, probably tomorrow. Look for that Toy Story that time forgot. You're going to love the little lighting connection. But I hadn't noticed that, and I'm glad you brought it up too, about like that looking so gray and dingy. And Jeff, how you mentioned the scrapes in the wall and all those kind of things.
Right.
Well, just the tension that scene showed. You know,
Well,
the
yeah,
mom is like, come on. You just feel that tension and that kind of stress there.
Right. I love all those little layers. It's another one of those metaphors for like the gray, for the scratches. It's another one to add to that you don't need to say it feeling, you just feel it without knowing it kind of thing. Man, Pixar's the master at that stuff. So,
And we have a couple of people who were curious about the voice actors, like who voices who. So Bill Hader does Fear, Amy Poehler does Joy, Lewis Black does Anger, Mindy Kaling is Disgust, and gosh, what was that?
Phyllis Smith?
Phyllis Smith, thank you. I almost said her office name. And she plays Sadness.
Right. So yes, it's a good recap too. And obviously, we just found out the other day that Diane Lane does the voice for Riley's mom, and you have Kyle MacLachlan, who's doing Riley's father, and the girl's name who does Riley is slipping my mind off the top of my head. Do either of you guys remember that just off the top of your head?
No.
Not a problem.
I'll tell you in a second, though.
I'll pull, yeah, Jeff.
Caitlin Diaz?
Caitlin, what is it?
Caitlin Diaz?
Caitlin Diaz, absolutely, yes. So she's newer into, it appears newer into show business. If you look up like her IMDb page or anything like that, it doesn't appear she's got a lot of credits. Obviously, being younger, that makes sense. But certainly some massive star power there among the emotions, and certainly among Diane Lane, Kyle MacLachlan. So really great there. The one thing, I'm glad the voices came up. When Anger inside Riley's head says, "You want a piece of me, or you want a piece of this, Pops?" It sounded so much like, if you listen to it really closely, it sounded so much like Remy from Ratatouille. If you really listen to it, he's got like that vibe there. So just
I didn't catch that. I'll have to listen to it again.
Next time you listen to it again, obviously I know it's Lewis Black, but next time you listen to it, it's just got some of that when Remy's yelling, and I never have noticed it. But if you listen to Lewis Black, and you listen to, and why is his name not coming?
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt, thank you. There's a slight resemblance, and I know I'm gonna love Anger even more because of that, because you know how much I'm obsessed with Patton Oswalt, especially his vocal work that he does for that, and even when he was like a guest on Modern Family.
Yeah. I'm most excited for Fear.
Okay, you're more.
I'm really excited for the character Fear. What about you guys?
I'm excited for Discuss because as Riley gets older into the preteen and teen, she's gonna come out more. So that's gonna be interesting to see.
Okay, so I like it. You're thinking about it more from a development standpoint, a little bit deeper. I'm thinking about it strictly because of voice. So I like that you went. I like that you went a little deeper there. And then Jeff, how about you? Which one kind of?
I like everything happy and stuff, so I'm all about joy.
I love it. We've got quite the range. So now we just need somebody to fill in for
Sadness.
Sadness.
We just need sadness. So
She's too sad.
Yeah, really. If any of us that are joking and laughing here were like sadness, I'd be like, oh, what's going on here? So that's cool. Yeah, and obviously we already heard it right at the beginning with Riley's father's version of fear. Sir, we're reporting high levels of sass. Just a fantastic. I love that.
And a couple of people had already wrote that that was their favorite line.
That was their favorite? Okay. Yeah, mine was you want a piece of this, Pops. Or the toilet seat, like Lauren mentioned, because the toilet seat one, what do we do? The toilet seat up? That one's great.
I forgot to take out the garbage?
Yeah. It's just, all of it's
The
too
foot is down. I repeat, the foot is down.
Right.
I really liked the Brazilian helicopter gag. That they actually showed how the memories are seen, and that they have the Brazilian helicopter pilot going, "Hello, fly with me, Kachina."
Yeah. Okay. So is anybody smarter that's either watching this, smarter than me, that's watching
Portuguese?
that knows like what this is? Because what did he say? Did he say her name?
No, it was like
Chica or
beautiful.
something like that. Like in the
So you-
beginning.
So you're thinking it's more of like a fly with me woman, beautiful woman kind of thing?
Yeah, that's what I first thought of.
That's what I kind of thought too. I just didn't know if anybody kind of knew out there if there was something specific that word of it sounds like Kachina is something out there.
We could Google it.
I tried.
I don't know
couldn't.
how to spell it though.
I know. I kept coming up. I'm like CH. Nah, it wasn't flowing.
Speaking of that, I love how like the orb came down and projected it.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Say more about that, because that was cool.
Yeah, so it seems like it's going to be kind of cool. Like, it's almost like neat that it's like projecting onto their brain then, and then that's what's making their mind think of it or whatever. And of course, all the emotions immediately follow suit, and they're like, So I know that Dan actually said that he wasn't 100% of a fan of kind of seeing that portion of it, and I don't know fully what it was. I just kind of maybe just caught him off guard a little bit. I kind of feel like it kind of caught me off guard a little bit as well, but I was expecting it knowing the animatic as well. So what did you guys think about that when they got to the helicopter part? Did any of it throw you off, or did you guys just like it right off the bat?
I will admit it threw me off a little because I don't like to read about it. I like to look at the not commercials, the trailers, and then make an conversation about it. But I liked it. I liked seeing the mom and the dad and all that, and the helicopter. That was hilarious.
Okay, cool. Yep. Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it right away. I thought it was a great gag.
Yeah. No, I thought it was pretty fun too, and I know that was.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's real, because when you're kind of like, ugh, you know, like if we are kind of like arguing, I'm just kind of like, oh, Disney World.
Oh, okay.
You know?
All right, we're good. We're good. It's not like some Brazilian helicopter
it's
pilot.
real. No, it's a Brazilian.
Brazilian fighter. You keep
I
saying
keep saying fighter pilot.
What do you
for
got?
some reason.
Fighter pilot.
Apparently mine is a fighter pilot.
F-16s, I guess. I don't know. Those
Did
Blue
she
Eagle
say something
pilots.
to us?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know that part's great too. Did she say something to us?
Yeah.
Give
What
us
did
a
she
sign.
say?
Right.
No one's listening. Of course not.
Yeah, I kind of no, of course not. I loved that his version of fear was kind of the call out guy. He was kind of like the sentry for everything. Like, sir, no one was listening. And then of course he does his high levels of sass and everything like that. So okay, so let's talk. We'll shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the Q&A session that Pete Docter did as well. First off, like we mentioned at the top of the hangout, really cool that Pete Docter took time and did this using the hashtag #AskInsideOut on Twitter. He had obviously done this before on Reddit by doing an Ask Me Anything, an AMA,
Mm-hmm.
and he had some great insights on there as well. but I'm going to actually start sharing my screen here, and we're going to pull up our post, and then let's talk through some of this a little bit here. So Jeff, just tell me, just to confirm, can you see the screen there just come across?
Not yet. So,
I see it.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
yeah, now I see it.
Okay, so we'll just start talking to it, though. So, yeah, we had done the wrap-up post, or Julie had done, I should say, of the Inside Out Q&A, and there was a couple of them. There's quite a few in here, but there was a couple of the items that kind of stood out to us. So, obviously, we had heard, like the one that's at the very top of the screen here, we had heard about these types of things before, where it's like, what's your biggest challenge when animating film, directing an animated film? He said, for one, the world is completely new and made up. It's unlike anything that you've seen before. To go in the mind, we couldn't look to toy stores or universities or Scotland to make sure we got it right. So that's a pretty cool thing as well, because really so many of these movies can be referential to something. You know, Bug's Life was in the weeds. It was in that area. Up, even though Up was in the sky and the clouds, it still was grounded with the fact that it was a house and it was Paradise Falls.
Well, plus they went to South America.
Right. Really kind of cool that, yeah, it's 100% made up, and it's kind of like he did with Monsters Incorporated, where he talked about that he had to build this whole monster world as well. So I really kind of liked that one myself. Lauren, how about you? Was there one of them that you kind of connected to at all that kind of caught your eye?
Yeah, I found, let's see. Oh, it says, we've heard Riley's parents' minds looking different in the inside. What does yours look like? And then he said, mine are better looking than I look on the outside, which I just thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Of course, it's great when he can throw a little comedic relief in there as well. So, Jeff, I know you had kind of connected with one of them too. So which one of his answers did you kind of, on the fly, connect with at all?
Well, I think it might have been the last question someone asked him about, I think the question was about, do you think it will benefit kids and adults to understand each other or, you know, each other's emotions? And he answered, being aware of how people think and interact gives you a deeper understanding of life. And I just think that's such a key concept to Pixar in general. I mean, it's the essence of Pixar, how they look at how people interact and react to each other, and then bring that into their films. And it's just one of those things that make their films so truthful, and, you know, to really have that impact and to hit home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love how in less than 140 characters he nailed the response, and like you said, totally lives up to not only the movie but what Pixar stands for as well. So I don't know, did you have one of them that kind of like from the list or whatever that kind of caught your eye at all?
It was just that one Cranium Command one.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
I really wanted to know how many storyboards, and I know we'll know this, you know, eventually, but I just want to know how many storyboards were done for this film, because we know Monsters University was like over 200,000. So I'm really curious to know if this is like on par with that. Is it a little less? I'm really interested to see more about, obviously, the story. Surprise, surprise.
Well, I'm gonna send an early prediction out there, and I'm gonna say that it's not gonna break the record. It's gonna be less.
I think it's going to be more.
I think it's going to be more.
Oh, okay. All right. So we got two more.
It'll be less.
Okay. Now let's see. I'm gonna let Jeff answer, but let's see if Jeff and I are thinking along the same way as with our guy emotions in our heads. So what do you think? Why will it be less, or do you have a reason, or you just feel it'll be less?
I just think they went crazy with the storyboards in Monsters. It was Monsters University.
Monsters
right?
U.
Yeah. So that just seems like such a huge number.
I think that the reason why I think it's going to be less is strictly because of the fact that Monsters U had the director change. It went through multiple story iterations, and the length of time was a little longer. So I feel like they would have probably had to do more revisions, which got to have.
Well, now you're making me doubt it, but I still think it's going to be around that mark. If not, then it's within like 20,000.
Oh, she's even throwing in the 20,000.
It's like a jelly bean count.
She wants the over/under here.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Okay,
like
I'm
it.
gonna go. Wait, now let's. Okay, 150,000. That's my guess.
150,000. All right, this is set in stone here. I love it.
I say between 190 and 215.
Did we ever did we validate what Monsters U was?
I think it's 212.
Let's look this
Can't
up.
remember.
So I know, yeah, absolutely, that one broke the record. But yes, so I still think it's going to be less. But we have the numbers, so we will be able to validate this in just a few short months.
Well, Lauren didn't give hers. She thinks it's over.
Yeah, do you have a number that you're thinking around?
Not any numbers, but I'm thinking because we've never been into a world like this before, so it's like experimenting. Like, I know when we make our films, we redo storyboards so many times to get the perfect angle or the perfect setting. And I feel like that's what they're going to try to do with this, because they're going to nail it the first time. So I feel like there's going to be more.
Oh,
I agree. Lauren, I'm with you.
Oh gosh.
that's excellent thought process there. See, I like it. I went for the logical approach, just trying to like mathematize it out, and Lauren goes for like the emotional side of it. Like, no, they had to experiment, they had to play to find the emotions and characters. I love it.
I'm just a dreamer.
Oh boy, too much. All right, so what else do we have left here? I think we've kind of covered the basis of the trailer. We've covered kind of some of those voices out there. Any other thoughts that you had had, Lauren, that either from the Q&A session or from the trailer itself?
Overall, I want the summer to come so bad. Like, after seeing that trailer, I'm ready to see the movie. Since we didn't have a movie in 2014, I'm ready to see it. And we only have 191 more days.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Begin.
Yeah. We're almost there, you guys.
I love it.
I love it.
Now, I will say, do you remember when Pete Docter took that picture on June 19th of this year, and he held up that thing for one more year? That didn't feel like 6 months ago to me, though. That felt like it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
It does. Same with this other hangout we did. It felt like we did it yesterday. I'm like, oh wow, time's going fast.
I know, it's quite a few months back now. It just blows my mind. So, but I like that too. That's great. That's great that it's 191 days.
We're almost there.
But I like the rationale too. We didn't have one in 2014 as far as a full length, but there's just, I don't know, there's something about it. I was excited for Monsters U, don't get me wrong. There's something about this that's really striking a chord with obviously not only me, with a lot of people, because we can tell you from our posts that we do on our site regarding Inside Out, it's like, here's our other posts, and it's like anytime we mention something Inside Out, it's immediate spike, and then it's just like, so the market is telling that Inside Out is very anticipated. How about Jeff, from your standpoint, anything else trailer that kind of stood out, or anything else Q&A that you wanted to chat about on there?
Yeah, a couple things, couple questions. One is, when you listen to the emotions in mom and dads, more moms, they all kind of, I didn't see the widespread emotions like, you know, a strong anger or strong sadness or whatever. So do you think that mom's emotions and maybe mom and dad's emotions both are going to be more toned down or muted?
You know what's funny is I actually thought about that as well. I'm glad you brought it up because I had forgot to write it down on my notes. I actually think, just a guess, but I actually think they're going to be more toned down just from the standpoint that as you get older, your emotions kind of all come to more of a level and even keel, as opposed to when you're in your teen years and, you know, one day one emotion's up here, the next day it's down here. So I think it's kind of more of just an overall level-headedness because of age and maturity.
I feel like they're melancholy. They're like very calm. One's not shooting up fast or going down. They're just calm. You know what I mean? So like when you're a preteen, you just move. You're mad. You're upset. You want to go back home. So there's a whole bunch of different emotions going on. That's what I thought of right away.
Yeah.
Very calm about everything.
I kind of feel like we're not going to see inside mom and dad's head anymore. I feel like that's going to be like that. Maybe one more time we'll see, but I don't think we're going to be inside mom and dad's head.
I feel like if there's another argument, we're going to go back into their head. Like this argument they just had, I'm hoping there'll be another argument just so we can see everybody's emotions.
Right. I don't know. I still think that there's going to be more inside their heads too. What do you think, Jeff?
I think there's going to be more. I'm actually looking up a quote or something that Pete Docter said about how the story is really more about his relationship to his daughter. And so it's really, I thought he said that it's told from the parents' point of view. So I think we will see more of mom and dad.
Okay, all right. So we're kind of split on that one a little bit. But what, since you brought up the question of the emotions kind of being more even keel, what were your thoughts with that too?
Yeah, I think I agree that as you age your emotions, you're able to control them better and keep them more in check. Also, in Riley's mind, we were missing Joy, and so she would be an offset to kind of the other emotions that were there, anger and disgust. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay. And we had our friend Kate Anderson jump in as well on Google Plus and say she agrees with Julie 100%.
Woo!
Yeah, girl power. So Jeff, you had mentioned you had a couple things. What else was
the second question. What did you think of the Riley's mind? You saw mom's mind, kind of that nice kind of muted colors and soft and everything, and dad's is that the 70s and I don't know what ESPN Center or whatever.
Right.
Riley's is this nice kind of open. There's windows in the back, and so any thoughts on that?
I think it's because she's like a little girl and she's kind of like free. You're just like everything's light, airy, and open because you have nothing. You're still kind of finding out who you are, so it's still kind of light, airy. Everything's bright. That's how I took it.
Oh man, I hope that that's the case. I hope that that is the case. That's awesome. That if they thought that far, that as you get older, you don't have as much of that openness to try things, to do things, and not in all cases, but obviously. Stereotypically.
Well, because I think inside TJ's head it looks like it's all white with Apple computers and like a Pixar ball lying around with milkshakes.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I do appreciate the fact that you threw milkshakes in
with
there.
With milkshakes.
No, see, I kind of thought of it as she's still opened to everything, so she's willing to try other things. That's why it's so spacious in there. So she's willing to do things and willing to try stuff. She has an open mind about everything.
This is why I love these discussions. I hadn't really paid that much attention to that either. My observation skills are just getting trashed. But I love that. That is fantastic. What did you think on that, Jeff? Since it was kind of what you were observing.
It's just something as you're asking our other thoughts. That kind of just popped in. So. I don't know if I have a strong. I agree with both what Julie and Lauren said. So.
Wow, great stuff. I love that question too. And and by the way, hello again, Kate. Sorry you couldn't join us this evening. I know you were running back with. Everything's always tough when you get around like the end of the school year with finals and everything. But yeah, hopefully we'll have you on next time. But she did mention again. Sorry if you already covered it, but she mentioned the observation as well about Riley having male and female emotions, and then the parents having all one sex, whether that be male or female in there. So yes, we did cover that at the beginning, but excellent observation.
Yes, and she caught it too. So
she caught it too, and I'm glad you brought it up because then it's another person that's kind of reiterating that as well.
We had another viewer say, only two things I didn't like. I wish we could have seen sadness and joy in the trailer,
okay.
And also I wish the movie was coming out sooner.
Well, we know it's 191 days, and yes, Jeff kind of talks about that we can assume at this point that this would be kind of like maybe the move is what kind of set them off, like kind of shook them loose and got them lost within Riley's mind. So, yeah, certainly we're going to be looking forward to a lot more of disgust or sadness and joy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great stuff. So Jeff, great observations there. What you got? Any other ones?
No, I think that's about it. But what you've all said is June won't get here soon enough.
Yeah.
I know it's well for a lot of reasons. Obviously, we get past all of the cold weather, So there's more to look to towards the summer for that, being as we're all kind of Midwest that are chatting here right now. And then obviously also that we're going to see this movie. It's so exciting, so exciting. Docter creations of these world buildings that he has to put together, and the fact that we're going to see these trains of thought, which are actually going to be trains. And as Riley gets older...
And someone actually suggested, do you think that John Ratzenberger will be the conductor of the train of thought?
Oh.
Yeah, somebody else asked this too, didn't they? Where they said, where will John Ratzenberger be?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? There's like infinite possibilities. He's probably going to be one of these crazy, like outlandish emotions.
I hope he's like a laid-back emotion or something.
That'd be kind of cool.
I feel like I have that emotion in my head.
Okay, so I've got like crisp white with Apple computers and milkshakes and a Pixar ball. If it's going to be Julie, it's going to be rainbows. It's going to be Disney World. You will definitely see a lot of Disney in there.
And pools of ramen noodles.
Pools of ramen noodles. Bob Marley playing in the background. Yeah. So this is going to be great. Certainly we look forward to the next trailer. It'll be a couple months probably before we see the next trailer, but certainly we're going to be looking forward to a lot more interviews coming up with Pete Docter as well as the crew. We're certainly going to, as our podcast, we're going to be doing our final Pixar Pipeline Project podcast coming up in just a couple days. It'll be coming out next week. We're going to be talking about post-production, so it's going to be really kind of cool to chat about that. So we're going to be wrapping that up. And then, we're obviously going to be pulling for interviews with some of these people as well, because as we talked with Angelique Reich in lighting, we had kind of some of the previews of things that she wanted to talk about in regards to Inside Out, being a lighting lead on that project. So hopefully we can maybe circle back with her and talk about that, because, like she even said, this one rivals WALL-E. It rivals some of the other movies that Pixar movies that may have the most effects and lighting involved with them. So.
Which says a lot, especially if it's being compared to WALL-E or Nemo. Because those are the two lighting movies. And Toy Story: The Time Forgot now. Stay tuned.
Yes, it is very, very good. So yeah,
I see the marketing really picking up now, right? Now that Big Hero 6 is out and Toy Story: The Time Forgot is out, I really see things really ramping up quickly, and we're going to have a lot to think about and talk about.
I know, it's going to be so great. So certainly stay tuned. We'll be having a lot more come through. Any last-minute comments come through YouTube or Twitter or anything?
Nope, we're good.
Fantastic. So, as usual, I would like to thank everybody for watching along in whatever forum you were watching. Great discussion, great comments, and love the thought process from Jeff and from Lauren. So Jeff, as we usually like to have you do, give your little sign off and let people know how they can find you. So if you weren't listening right at the top of the hour, this is Jeff Kays from This Day in Pixar, but give a little bit of a elevator speech as far as what This Day in Pixar covers. And I notice you've been doing quite a few posts recently too.
Yeah, I've been doing a few more than trying to pick it back up a little bit. I guess I mostly focus on the history of Pixar, with maybe more emphasis on the business side and the culture of the company, and not doing like so much reviews or whatever, but more that business side and then the historical aspects of the company.
Yeah, I love the fact of, on your site that not only do you take a look from a business side, but it's also mixed in with that business side with like the stock reports and looking back at the financials. It also gives you paints a picture of where they were at that time. It's like a great snapshot to say, here's what Pixar looked like at this point. It starts kind of with the basis usually you do of like an anniversary for employees or the financials, but it really spins off into other areas too. So great history. I did also mention that coming with this upcoming year, that we're going to have you back on to one of our podcasts as well to talk through, because we did kind of Monsters Incorporated history. We're also now going to talk about Toy Story history, and like all 3 Toy Story movies in one. So your services are gonna be massively utilized come that, because you've got a lot of years to span there.
Yeah, really. And maybe a couple more into the future now, it sounds like.
Absolutely. That's why we got to start doing this with all these Toy Story specials, and then Toy Story 4 coming.
Oh, God.
So absolutely excellent. So thanks for joining. Great observation. Really appreciate it. Always great insight. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, absolutely. And then to Lauren, one of our great fans and friends that we've met through our site because of, I think it kind of came about because of Partysaurus Rex.
Yep.
Absolutely. So some of the coolest hair in the business. Every time you come on, it's just like it's just so perfect. It's like you spent like forever just getting it just right for the show.
It's just like Merida.
I just woke up like this.
So yes, so Lauren, I know that you don't have a Pixar site, but are there any plans to have any type of Pixar site or anything like that coming up?
Honestly, probably not, because I'll be very busy with college. But you may see me there one day at Pixar.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably no problem, because you'll probably be working there one day as you're going towards this goal of being in animation.
Editing, right?
Editing, yeah.
Editing. I remember.
Absolutely. So certainly great. Oh, and Kate is actually jumping in again. She says, "I love these chats. You guys rock. Thank you for the chat tonight. Appreciate that." And also, she is holding us to the fire. I'll throw a little bit of honesty out here. She says, "Ooh, also, when's the next book club chat?" And I have to say that we have, mostly me, have definitely let the book club kind of falter a little bit as of recent. For people that don't know, I was actually seeking a new job for a while, and actually just throughout that process of seeking the job and now getting in place at the new job, it's just been a whirlwind among the other Pixar news that's been coming out. But I do have a plan where essentially, kicking off in January, I'm going to lay out the entire year of books that we're going to do. So it'll be easy for people to know the full breadth of it from January through December, what books, when they're going to be covered. So we'll have it all covered. It'll flow a lot smoother. And definitely appreciate people reaching out and keeping us honest in regards to that book club, and I'm glad that the interest is still existing out there. Coming up, we're going to be, of course, having our contests that we set as well. That'll get refreshed and kind of move along with the book club too, and we'll be giving away The Art of Ratatouille, which David Price ended up donating again, just as a reminder from he wrote the Pixar Touch book, so that's fantastic. So thanks for holding me, keeping me honest on that, Kate, and we certainly hope to have you on next time too. So wrapping up, that concludes today's discussion of the fantastic and very exciting and energetic Inside Out first full-length trailer. We certainly hope everybody enjoyed it. And be sure to visit This Day in Pixar. Of course, you can visit his website at thisdayinpixar.com, as well as his Twitter account, which is at This Day in Pixar, right at the bottom of his name. That was underneath there. So Jeff, just say hello again, so it'll pop up.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so it just pops up there. That was just my
Putting my
excuse.
hand against doesn't count, huh?
No. So thanks again, everybody. Be sure to stay tuned to PixarPost.com all week for the latest news. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.